video, I'm going to be sharing with you guys 12 hard truths about living in Ghana. Somebody who has lived in Ghana for the past 4 years now, who moved from the diaspora, although the good outweighs the bad, it has not been a walk in the park. Today I'm going to share with you all my experiences that I've had, that some did shock me, some not necessarily, in hopes that it will prepare you better when you're ready to move out this way. Starting on a positive, lighter note, one of the biggest things you're going to experience out here in Ghana is you're going to have some of the best days of your life. One thing that's really important to notice and recognize is once you get to Ghana, you kind of forget about all your problems. There's this kind of peace that Ghana has that you just cannot find anywhere. Everything is very laid back. Everything is just super chill. Like, even if you're not doing anything, you just feel so much better. You feel so much lighter. Aside from the nightlife, aside from the clubs and the bars and the nice restaurants and the beautiful food that they have out here, just the atmosphere overall is like something that you're going to notice a significant difference in, especially if you're coming from some part of the West to Ghana. So that's my first point. That is something that I truly appreciate being here, and I'm sure you will too if you decided to make the move out here. Ghana has some level of peace that's just unmatched. You cannot find it anywhere else.
It can be incredibly difficult to form deep, meaningful relationships in Ghana. You guys need to take this comment with a grain of salt, okay? I don't know what the experience is like for, like, say, teenagers and kids and things like that, because generally speaking, it's easier for them to make friends than it is for us adults. When I came to Ghana, I was already an adult, and I was an entrepreneur as well, so clearly my time is limited. So there's all these factors to consider. So if you've had a different experience, let me know that in the comment section below. Basically, I found it super easy to find people to go out with, people that will support me in different aspects, people that work for different organizations. So basically, if I needed help here, I can just be like, hey, you work for the electricity company and I need help with this, and then they'll support me with it. But then when it comes to somebody that I can actually open up to and share deep stories with, that took a very long time for me to find those kind of relationships. Finally, I found a good handful, but it took a longer time than I anticipated because, you know, how friendly Ghanaians are. So you would think that it's easy to make friends. Generally speaking, a lot of them are a bit closed off. I don't know if it's because of experiences they've had with other people. I don't know what it is, but generally, like, they keep things very shallow, like when you meet women and stuff like that, especially. So it takes a very long time to form deep, meaningful relationships. And so that can be a little bit tough if you've come from the diaspora and you have no connections whatsoever. It will take a while for you to build those relationships. So if it happens to you, just know that it's happened to me as well, and probably other people. If it has happened to you, share it in the comment section below.
You cannot live in Ghana like how you did when you were on holiday. As people from the diaspora, generally it's very easy for us to feel like, oh, everything is so cheap. Like, you know, once you change the dollar, you're gonna get so much money and you can buy whatever you want. That's okay on holiday, but if you want to live here, cannot spend money like that. Ghana can be very cheap if you want it to be, and it can be very, very expensive, even more expensive than it is overseas sometimes. So the same way you budget when you're overseas, the same way you make a plan for how you're going to spend your money, that's exactly how you have to do it here. Otherwise, you won't last very long. After like a year or so, all your savings will be gone and you'll be out the door. You know, a lot of the time when people move here, it's like, oh, life is easier in Ghana, so I want to live here, which can be true to some extent. But if you do not apply the life skills like the budgeting and trying to make more money using like entrepreneurship and side hustles and those type of things, you're really going to like go broke, really. And that's what tends to happen to a lot of people, and they end up leaving. So that is like a big thing. You cannot live here like you do when you come here on holiday. When you come here on holiday, you usually have a lot more money to go around. You know, you're only here for 2 weeks and you probably have like $2,000, $3,000 to spend, so you can do whatever you want. But if you want to live here, that $2,000, $3,000 should probably last you a month and not 2 weeks. So that's my next point. Unfortunately, you're most likely to be duped or disappointed or lied to or something by someone, especially if you've come from the diaspora. Unfortunately, I've said this several times, when you come from the diaspora and you move here, you're put on a pedestal by so many people. A lot of people see you like, oh, this person is rich, they've come from abroad, you know. So even though people will show you love and care about you and things like that, there are also some sneaky people in there, and you're most likely going to be disappointed or duped, or something like that could happen to you. I'm sharing this because when people come, sometimes when this happens, they're like, oh, I can't live in Ghana. Ghana has terrible people, I want to leave, da 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 da. Believe me, it's happened to a majority of us who have moved from the diaspora to here, but you shouldn't let that stop you from wanting to stay here. It might happen with somebody, but another person might be really good to you and help you in so many other ways that, you know, other people that you may have met in the past may not have been able to do for you. So just know that this is a normal thing. It happens to so many people, and it's probably going to happen to you, but that doesn't mean that should be the end of your journey in Ghana. Unfortunately, this is more common than you would think. It really does happen a lot in business, in friendships, even in love. Like, a lot of people come here on holiday and they meet people, they're like, oh, I met the love of my life, da 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 da, forgetting that they were only here for 2 weeks, you know. And then once you're here for a longer period, you're like, is this the same person I met on my holiday? So you need to be really careful when it comes to those type of things. If you want to live in Ghana and you want to maintain a certain standard of living, you're most likely going to have to be an entrepreneur. Job market in Ghana doesn't pay that well. So for the average Ghanaian, they're used to a certain level of life, you know, especially if you don't live in like an expensive part of Accra or anything like that, you can manage. But if you come from the diaspora, generally you want to live in like a more expensive area, an area that's all done up and things like that. With that, if you do like a regular Ghanaian salary job, you most likely will not have enough income to sustain that kind of lifestyle. So if you're somebody who doesn't want to be an entrepreneur or do your own work, then you're most likely going to have to find something that's like remote work online that pays a little bit more. Or if you get like an expat type job in Ghana, you're probably going to get something that matches whatever salary you were getting overseas, so that way you can manage. But if you plan on getting a regular Ghanaian job, probably won't survive. The average salary is not too high, and Ghanaians are used to knowing how to utilize that amount of money because they're used to that way of living. But if you're used to a certain standard of living, it might be a little bit hard. And also, a lot of the things that are free and accessible overseas for free, here you probably have to pay for it. So that's why it makes the cost of living so high. A lot of the time when people move out here, sometimes they have all these like really nice ideas for business. So, you know, especially when you're coming from the West, you know, the West has innovated to a certain level. So there's certain ideas that work really well there, and a lot of people are open to those ideas for business. But generally speaking, it might not necessarily work out here in Ghana. So if you're trying to move here and make money from whatever business you're doing right now, starting something that's completely new that Ghanaians are not used to is probably not a good idea. It's not impossible, but I'd say once you're well established, you're already making your income, then you can experiment a little bit with new ideas. But if you're coming now and you want to live here and you want to start a business, then you definitely need to do something that's already being done. Maybe you can add to it and make it a little more innovative, but at the same time, starting a completely new idea is rarely ever a good idea. It takes a long time for people to warm up to new ideas in general, and I feel like in Ghana, it takes even longer for people to warm up to new ideas. So if you want to start something that's being done, like shops, salons, those type of things are already being done. You can make yours stand out one way or the other, and it generally works. But coming here with some random app or something completely different that nobody has heard about, it will take a longer time for that to like take off, for you to make money, to be able to survive out here in Ghana. Another hard truth that you will come to realize if you move to Ghana is Ghana isn't for everybody. I know there's been this whole trend of like diasporans moving to Ghana, moving home. It's just not for everybody. The diaspora offers certain comforts, you know, that are easy access. But here, you have to pay ridiculous amounts of money to access that same comfort, you know. So not everybody can live here. The way people think is different. The lifestyle is more laid back. Everybody's pretty blasé about everything. It's not for everybody. Some people are better off living wherever they are and coming here on holiday. Not everybody can live here full term. A lot of people say that, and it's true, because it's for me. I can live here, but I have friends and family members that I know they just will not survive Ghana, and that's okay. So that's something that you need to be aware of. Luck plays maybe 2% role in whether you're able to survive Ghana or not. Yes, there's a lot of planning involved. You need to be really tough. You need to be malleable. You need to change and adapt to different situations in order to survive here. But then, if you want to live here, you need to recognize that your life and somebody's life might be completely different. It might work out for someone, it might not work out for you. Luck does play a little role. As much as I've worked very, very hard to be able to continue to stay here, and I continue to do so, and I continue to change my life around to make sure that I can continue to live here, I know that there's a certain level of luck. You know, there's a reason why I came to Ghana at the time that I did. There's a reason why I have the knowledge that I have. There's a reason why I came from the family I came from. There's a reason why everything worked out exactly how it's working out. And that is exactly why I say that luck plays a small role in whether you're able to live here or not. So don't be too hard on yourself. If you come here and you're not able to stay here full term and you end up going back, don't be too hard on yourself. Sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't. You can always come back again and try again. Another hard truth about Ghana that you cannot underestimate is the roads. Everybody talks about how bad the roads are in Ghana, and there's potholes and there's dirt roads everywhere, but driving at night can be a serious safety issue. A lot of us don't even take it that seriously. That's just Ghanaian, the nature of Ghanaians. But honestly, it causes a lot of accidents unnecessary. A lot of the roads don't have street lights, and you know these potholes can be massive. And when there's no street lights, the thing people do is they drive with their headlights. So then if you're coming from the opposite end, then you're blinded basically. So you're just driving blind. Sensible thing to do when that happens is to drive slow. But then people are in a hurry to go wherever they want to go to, because maybe they've been in traffic for so long and they're over it, or they don't want to go slow. They want to get wherever they're going quickly. So imagine driving blind, your headlights on, and then speeding. Recipe for disaster. So there's a lot of accidents on the road unnecessarily, but unfortunately that tends to happen. Another important hard truth that I need to let you guys know is people here don't take anything seriously. It could be anything. It could be from like political issues to maybe like problems in hospitals and things like that. Like it could be major issues that might be impacting people. And even though they do what they can to change things, I feel like a lot of the time everything is funny, everything is just like kind of whatever. Unfortunately, I think it's a great thing, because if you don't take things too seriously, then you're not always stressed or worried about different things. But at the same time, that could be part of why certain things have stayed the way they are for so long. You know what I mean? Obviously, if you want to make changes and you want to do things differently, then you're going to have to be serious. You have to make serious plans and move forward. But generally speaking here, people make jokes about everything from the president to political issues to just regular things that happen around you. You know, you might get somewhere and then maybe there's been a fire outbreak or something. Although people might show empathy and say, oh my God, I can't believe this happened, da 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 da. Next minute, there's somebody dancing in the corner just right next to where the incident has happened. So I don't know, it could be good and bad. They don't take anything seriously. If you guys agree with this, let me know in the comment section below. If you've had any experiences similar to what I'm trying to articulate, let me know in the comment section below. Another hard truth that I need to share with you guys when you move to Ghana is you're forced to learn a whole new way of life, way of being, and you learn to value relationships a little bit more. Over in the West, generally we're kind of forced into independence, doing everything on our own, all that. Out here, it doesn't work that way. People work with people, people do things with people, people are friends with everybody, everybody is everybody's family. Your neighbors can take care of your kids for you with no issues whatsoever. So when you've moved from the West to here, if that's not something you're used to, that's something that you're forced to learn. I must say this is more prevalent in the lower socioeconomic areas nowadays than it is in the more affluent areas. More of the affluent areas are becoming just like the West, where everybody just does their own thing and mind their own business. But generally speaking, relationships are more valuable here. When you manage to make good friends, although it takes a long time to be able to establish that, once you're able to do that, you can truly see a significant difference in your life in comparison to what it was when you lived in the West. Most of the time when you live in the West, you live in isolation. Even though you live with family or, you know, dad, mom, or husband, wife, or whatever, it's very different when it's here. Here, the relationships have nothing to do with husband, wife, or just mother, father. It's usually like your neighbor, your friend's friend, some acquaintance, somebody you met at the passport office. Those are the type of relationships that you end up really valuing, and those are the type of people that generally make quite a significant difference in your life.
Last point is to do with systems. You guys know I've said it several times on here that systems do not work in Ghana. Don't underestimate how much of an impact this can have on you and your life out here. You know, systems have to do with hospitals. It has to do with, let's say, buying a home, buying land, investing in different things, even smaller corporations, private corporations. Most of the systems are just not effective. Let me give you guys an example. I broke my drone recently and I went online to try and find somebody who fixes drones. I found just two companies in the whole of Ghana who fix drones. The first one I took it to, they were meant to do a diagnosis in 2 days. They didn't get back to me. They were like, we should come back in 2 days to pick it up because it will be done. Went back in 2 days. They're like, oh, we forgot to let you know there was an emergency that came up, so we couldn't fix it. So it will take another couple of days or whatever. Cool. They get back to me again. They're like, oh, the part they need is now being shipped in from wherever, and they don't even know when the part will arrive. So it's going to take even long. So I had to pick up the drone and give it to someone else. That someone else too, I don't even know. It's been more than a week and we don't even know what's going on. So this is what I'm saying. Like, everything just takes forever. If I were overseas, this will be done already. I'll literally just hand it in, forget about it, and I'll be guaranteed that somebody will give me a call and let me know when it's ready so I can pick it up. This is not a free service, by the way. When it comes to hospitals and things like that, there can be some documents that you need to fill and sign and this and that. You go to point A, you have to go to point B, point C. Like, it's so cumbersome. And there isn't too much of an online system as well. So that makes things just drag out. And that's why I always emphasize the importance of forming relationships with people that work in different corporations that can support you with these type of things. But at the same time, you can't know everybody. So you will definitely come across some kind of institution or organization where you have to go through the regular process, and it's such a pain, especially given the infrastructure you have to deal with when you're getting to these places and stuff like that. So that's another hard truth that will most likely impact on your life should you decide to move out here to Ghana. And that was 12 hard truths about Ghana. These have been my personal experiences, so I hope I haven't scared you off coming to live here, because the good definitely outweighs the bad. But at the same time, I want to be as realistic as possible as I am through my vlogs, through my chatting with you guys, through everything that I do. I want to be realistic, and I want you guys to know what to expect to some extent, so that when you come and you have these experiences, you know it's an experience that most people that have come from the diaspora experience, and it's not just you. Anyway, I hope you guys have found this video informative and helpful. Make sure you give me a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't already. I can't wait to see you in my next one. Don't forget to follow your bliss. So now life is short. Follow your bliss. Na nipa ye den. Follow your bliss. Na di ebesi biya ye, and follow your bliss. Na den ne mada. Take care, guys. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.